Greetings and salutations. This is YNB Collins. I'm joined with
Brother Wolf here.
We're the Benchmark Podcast. We go ahead and take critical thinking, a little bit of life experience, put it together, and hopefully come up with a better synthesized result. And today's topic is based off Brian K. Vaughan's run on the Marvel title, The Runaways, published in 2005, issues 7 to 12. I ended up getting the TPB at a local convention. And I'm like, for $1, let me go ahead and read it, check it out.
That is a really great deal, brother.
I'm going to pass it on, but what was so really interesting about it is that a Marvel hero, Cloak, from the Cloak and Dagger series, got framed. And so the Runaways are trying to figure out what's going on and trying to track down leads. And they found out there's basically this designer drug that gives people supernatural powers, and somebody got Dark Force powers like Cloak. So they go track the guy down, and they find a guy who looks like a blaxploitation pimp, like just the most 70s thing you've ever seen. And his name is Pusher Man. It's really like I hit Curtis playing while I'm reading the book. But what's so funny about it is the kids get the information out of him, and he says, the Pride knows who I am. Tell him I've been following the rules. I don't deal anywhere near Los Angeles. Only place I peddle is between dimensions outside the Fed's jurisdiction. And that is the onus for today. If you ever remember that episode of The Simpsons where they were in international waters because, laws don't exist the same way there. The point I'm getting at is, Brother Wolf, you're the spacefaring guy. You're pushing for it. When you consider media like Gundam Wing, and there's a book series I read called War Strider where there is the Earth and its colonies and they're fighting for their independence. Almost sounds like America all over again, right?
Yeah.
So the question I have for you is this. What's going to happen? Who's going to get control of, let's say we do go ahead and land and start building on Mars. Who gets control?
I mean, you almost have to go back to those days. You almost have to go back to the, the days let's say when the colonists first came over to America, there were no laws as far as what laws were ratified for the New World or anything like that.
I think we can agree on the basics of no taking lives, no taking property.
10 Commandments, the basic, the 10 Commandments mainly. That's the start of almost any section of laws as far as society is concerned.
I agree with that.
But I think that's what it is you have to start out with that, and you have to realize that you have to go forth as far as building your laws from that. I mean, there's still certain laws that don't apply for certain countries, but it is always assumed by international law of certain things.
Well, I'm just thinking about it like this. So going to jurisdiction, the question becomes whose jurisdiction matters, who's applying it, who's going to actually be able to enforce it too.
I think I wrote that down actually about who actually is going to enforce the laws out there. That's going to be the issue. We already have a space territory, if you will, the International Space Station.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, that's out there in space. Technically, there are no laws if you want to go that way on the International Space Station.
You know that for a fact, or you believe that's the case?
I do know that for a fact, but it's always assumed that whatever our international laws are the ones that that deal with that area.
So the reason I bring this up is, like I said, going through various media where you have Earth and its colonies or whatever the case may be. What is something that you think would be frightening that could happen on Mars? And one of the things I think about is, well, since the biome is different, we've got to go ahead and adapt ourselves, right? Or we have to terraform it. Well, what if only on Mars it grows this mushroom that has psychotropic effects? What if we go ahead and say what you want, but drugs are a huge part of it. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. That's a huge part of our culture. You're telling me there's not somebody who won't be looking for a hit of whatever?
I mean, they'll definitely find a way to bring it back. That's what I'm saying. Is if it's not found here, they'll definitely. If they find psychedelic drugs on Mars, I think that would boost the exact amount of resources to get established a mode of transit back and forth from Mars and the Earth better than any other way that has been known to man. I think what may have sounded like 20 years as far as them being able
7
to
tops. But as facetious as I'm being to a point, I'm being deadly serious on another point because there is. I don't think I've ever had you read it. There's a comic book series I have read for a long time called Bomb Queen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You told me about it. I have never read it, but you definitely told me about it.
For those who
I know where you're going.
Those who don't know, it's kind of like The Purge. There are sections of the city where whatever goes. That's it. So, what all are we going to do? Can you go ahead and make your own money? Can you just seize control? Because imagine this. Let's say Mr. Musk is trying to terraform and this, that, and the third, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and just takes the technology and says and plants the flag like he's Captain Nemo in 20,000 Leagues and says, "Nah, this is mine." Who's going to tell him no? And is this under since we have a new member of the armed forces? Is this space police territory? Space defense territory? Like, what do we do?
I mean, I would gather, like I said, I would gather that would be something that would fall under that jurisdiction. But at the same point in time, if we went over this before about the big problem with corporations and if they make it out there as opposed to governments making it out there, a lot of people dislike the government and all of that other stuff. But you're not doing that much better with corporations because when corporations have control, you run into an issue whereas, hey, if these people don't want to pay for the air that I'm going to be supplying from Earth, I'll just cut off the air.
And you sound like, Verhoeven's Total Recall.
Yeah.
Or the CEO of Nestle. I forgot his name, but he's like, water's not an essential right. That's what he's on record stating that. So if it's not an essential right, how do you expect me to essentially work?
Right. And that's the whole thing is under those cases, we'd have to handle them, as the situation arises. It'll be a new frontier for us. That's what Star Trek is always saying, a brave new frontier. That's what in new laws, new ways of doing things, they all have to come through.
Yeah, so my question is, who if the jurisdiction had to go to somebody, who would you like, or what body would you like to take control?
The only so the United Nations has a wing of it called dealing with the international space accords.
Mm-hmm.
It's international space, and I'm trying to think of what the other words were. I'm saying accords on this situation, but it's actually called something else. But there's a specific section of the UN that is devoted towards establishing these similar situations like you're talking about. And I think they would be the best ones as far as this is concerned, because it's the same thing. Antarctica. We have a similar situation with Antarctica.
That everybody agrees to behave and do this.
Right, exactly. It doesn't fall under any particular country, but the overall laws of Antarctica are established by the United Nations.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, just going by the math, if we agree that China is one of the strongest countries in the world due to population, and they have, I think, a per capita billionaire number that's crazy. Yeah. If there would be a mass influx of Chinese immigrants to Mars, so now you're Chinese Martian, I don't even know how that works. Would you not be surprised to have the norms, mores, taboos, and customs of Chinese people or Indian people or Greeks or Parisians or Londonites or whatever? So that's one of the things that's concerning me is that, are we going to be cosmopolitan or are we going to be uniform?
I think it'll probably be. I'm going to be honest with you, a little bit of both. I want to say we'll be more uniform, but I do believe it'll probably be a little bit of both. Whereas whatever community probably has the largest what do I want to say, has the largest influx of people at the very beginning will probably dictate for a while those customs that happen on those colonies.
What was the Netflix show you had us watch where the 5 astronauts went into space and they ran out of water?
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember what it is, but the point being is that every single person had like at least two PhDs. You know?
Yeah, it started with Nate. I'm trying my
Was
best.
it alive? It wasn't alive. Whatever. The point being is that everybody chosen for this multinational mission was experts in their field. They were just, they're the bee's knees. So are we going to do that? Or are we going to have a proliferation of the common man? Bartenders, retail managers, plumbers, or are we just, are we going to do specialized trades or general labor?
I mean, that was one thing that I when Elon mentioned about it, or Ellen mentioned about this one time. One thing that he said was it will not be just all specialists because they need laborers. Just being pure and simple, they're going to need laborers and specialists, whereas they have immense EQs. I mean, IQs and intelligence. They typically don't be as strong of laborers as the common man.
Because they're so specialized, we don't have a lot of them. Yeah, right. That's why they're so unique and worthwhile on the capitalist market, because they're special. It's literally in the name. But that's the concern I have, is that we're going to need a mass proliferation of non-skilled people, and they're the ones who's going to go ahead and rule the roost.
Yeah. I mean, if they have more of them there than the specialists, no matter how smart the specialists are, then they're not going to wind up, being.
And is that the best thing?
In a way, not really. But isn't that how most societies are? Is that the majority typically is the one that winds up as far as establishing those rules?
So let me give you an example. I had as someone who's worked security a chunk of my life, I was working a nerd convention, and a older man, he was well over 53, probably closer to 60. And he had a really sour disposition because I was doing weapon check, bag check, prop check, make sure enough, because we're a private institution, we get to go ahead and control that. And he's like, this is ridiculous. And being the trained professional I am, I said, yes, it is ridiculous, sir, that we have to suffer for the tyranny of the minority. But unfortunately, I have to have a 100% success ratio, and I'm not going to let some little child die on my watch. Okay, this is private. Go the fuck away. That's what it's going to lead to. But that's the sad point of it, is that there is a tyranny of the majority and the minority. Both exist. And we try to go ahead and find equanimity, but we typically cannot get it. Usually, it's not a zero-sum game. Sometimes it is. And I'm afraid that we're getting to the point where it is a zero-sum game all the time now, where we can't go ahead and say, yes, there's multiple ways to do this. No, it has to be my way or the highway.
I agree with you. More often than not, it winds up being a zero-sum game. The one thing that I can say, though, is I recently had a conversation with a rather unruly person at my establishment. And being the manager on duty that I was, this person was saying that even though I had recognized them as being a person that had stolen from out of the store before, they believed they had the right to come into the store because they weren't going to steal anything this time.
And but there are times he's going to. Well, there's times, because I didn't say he or she. This motherfucker. You're going to go ahead and say this time is okay, but not this time? No, once you're banned, you're banned.
That's the whole thing, is getting them to understand that if you've proven to be a untrustworthy person, why should we allow you to betray our trust
bottom line? Yeah,
And so at the end of the day, I told them Louisiana has a rule that says that we have the right to refuse service to anybody that comes into our business for any reason.
Yeah.
And I am refusing service to you.
Get away.
Goodbye.
Yeah. My favorite thing is to go ahead and tell somebody, I have the ability to trespass you. And nowadays with cameras, I don't. As someone who now works security, that is my favorite tool. Not a pistol, not a mace, or pepper spray, or a stun gun, or a billy club, or 15 other people. The camera does all the work for me. But like I said, so for jurisdiction, you're for that. I would hope for that to be the case, but I'm just, like I said, I'm afraid of who's going to go there. Enforcement, you have to have. What did Contessa de Fontaine say? In a position without power is just an opinion. And your face changed when you saw it. You were like, "Why is Julia Louis-Dreyfus so sexy and horrible?" Oh my gosh! But it was a very distinct point. You're going to have power, because I'm going to call it right now. I know unequivocally they're going to have oxygen is going to be a premium. I think that's something we agree with.
Right.
And you know how many people are going to go ahead and bring marijuana? Don't smoke! This is one of those edibles only. But case in point, how many laborers smoke cigarettes?
Right. I mean, we both love Cowboy Bebop, but what is the one thing that Spike is known to do? And we know all of these environments that he's in are controlled oxygen environments. But what is the one thing that Spike is known for besides guns?
Side shuffle sidekicks. I watched that intro enough. But no, there's one scene where Spike and Jet are just chilling, and he literally just hovers the cigarette over to him in low G environments. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I remember right, Faye smoked as well too.
Yeah. So how would that happen in oxygen-rich environments?
Or no, oxygen deficient.
Oh well, oxygen.
But even if it's oxygen rich, that's still a bad thing. Because that means more combustion. The point is, it's bad. And this is the kind of stuff that I know people are not going to think about. And the point I'm trying to drive home is, we are now on the fringes of multiple disciplines in exploration. Like, now that AI is here, it's growing unchecked.
We're on the technology frontier, if you will.
Yeah. I am afraid of AI. I am afraid of where we're going with just cybersecurity in general.
I understand, but like I said, much with the spacefaring conversation, it's not because that you're afraid of it that's going to stop it. It's not because you don't like it that's going to stop it. People are still going to use that to their advantage, even if you will sit on your soapbox and say, "I don't like this and I can't stand this," and you are everywhere within your right to do that. People are not going to stop. And that's what it is.
So one of the things that comes to my mind is specifically, do you remember well, I don't know, shouldn't say remember, but did you see the first Alien movie?
Yes, of course. It was one of my favorite movies.
What was the crew? What was their ship doing?
It was it was on a mission to around that area as far as survey.
Salvage.
Well, yeah.
Salvage. Okay. And here's the question I have for you. How many, as a Transformers fan, they use cycles.
Yes.
We use seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. Let's go to decades. You know what I mean? Then century. What's it going to be the cycle of time for Mars?
I mean, that's a good thing. We can't go by when the sun sets and rises or that doesn't. I mean, I gather they're still going to go by, because remember, Earth has a standard time. I think it's called internet time or something like that, or something. Well, no, so the point I'm almost certain that Mars would probably, for simplicity's sake, go off of that time. Now, how would they keep that time out there on Mars? and I guess they would have to depend on as far as they would have to depend on some mechanical device or something like
Analog.
electrical device in order to that it would be extremely dependable in order to go ahead and make sure what the actual time is for that
But the point I'm getting at is this: the orbits will be different for both. So, as such, is one Earth day equivalent to one Martian day?
No.
And what's going to be the pay rate? How many hours are you expected to work? How many hours can you work? How many hours should you work? Because do you think there will be an exact transmission of all the laws we take for granted? Labor laws, rent laws.
I think hours will probably stay the same. I want to say hours are probably going to stay the same because our hours have never been based off of whether the sun is up or down. You know that you're a bartender.
Let me allow that.
You know that. But yeah, our hours have never been based off of that. Our 60 seconds equals a minute. 60 minutes equals an hour. 24 hours equals. I guess that would be the
But you get where I'm going with this,
right.
because we're based off of these things, these calculations that we did with regards to the sun, but Mars is going to be different. And we're going, like I said, we're going to have this proliferation of cultures. We're going to have new culture being created.
Right.
And we're going to see a population shift.
I think it would be, what's interesting? I think it would be something like, how New Orleans is a melting pot? I think it would be something like that.
I think it will be more like the neighborhoods, like I believe in Canada, there's a large Haitian population, if I remember correct.
Like they may have like a little Haiti,
a little Tokyo, a little Korea, a little.
Yeah, I can see that.
Something like that, because it's one of those. I can't see a large contingent of rich to wealthy individuals moving. Generally speaking, most immigrants are people who are looking for economic opportunity.
Correct. We found that out from all of the exploration that's happened on.
That's just historically speaking. Yeah, that's just what it is.
It won't be a large percentage of well-to-do.
And I'm thinking of like everybody's going to be on the Martian space station doing Duolingo. This is how you speak Earth. This is how you speak. But the reason I bring this up also is
actually, I was just thinking before about Nigerian princess named Martian Prince. You just recently been scammed by the Martian Prince. I am the Prince of Mars.
I want to call you words right now, but you're correct, so I have to let it slide. But no, do you know what Esperanto is?
Esperanto. Once again, it sounds familiar, but right now I
don't. Esperanto is the formed language done by a bunch of linguists, like polyglots, that they made it themselves. And there are over 15,000 speak. If you're listening, thank you for the knowledge. It is on my Duolingo list of things to do. And you can figure out some words through context, and you've heard the words elsewhere. So you can go ahead and get a few things of it. So it's basically common if you've played any D&D or whatever. And when you think about it, it's like, yeah, everybody can communicate this way. You know what I mean?
All right.
So that's like, you remember Altered Carbon?
Yeah.
When Kovac had to get that emitter put on his
understand, yeah,
to block all the ads.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Mars, there's going to be a proliferation of ads. You think sex work is going to be legal on Mars?
To some extent, when it first happens, yes.
And you think it's still going to be happening?
I don't think it will be legal after a while, but I think it probably will still.
And for those who know, there's the second Verhoeven Total Recall reference. I wish I had enough hands. If you know, you know. If not, I'm trying to keep it somewhat safe. But yeah, think about that for a second. You're going to have Martian chlamydia now.
Ew!
I don't scratch anymore, Doc, because the skin falls off. What? But simultaneously, imagine if we get to the point where some Earth diseases don't survive on Mars. Imagine if cancer could be removed because it can't grow in the Martian environment.
Wow. I mean, that would definitely that would be some good news to happen as far as that was concerned.
Just random ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Insects are sometimes a delicacy. They're one of the things that proliferate the most. As someone who's afraid of invasive species, but if we brought insects to Mars, could they be the start of terraforming?
Well, not just that, but I was also just thinking about the fact of what if something about, we all know there's a lot of carcinogens on Earth. There's a lot of different things in our air that is not exactly good for us to breathe. A lot of things in our water that isn't exactly good for us to drink.
I mean, we have Cancer Alley down here, so come on now.
So what if we go to find out on Mars, people can live longer because they're away from all that?
I mean, the health ramifications alone are almost worth it as long as you don't get blasted out the air duct.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, this goes back to that smuggling thing. People going, and we love to do stupid, and that's going to frighten me to the highest extent. So the last one is so we got this proliferation of behavior, we got this population movement. We don't know what customs we're bringing and how we're going to do it. It finally gets to the point where we're not going to take it, and the rebellion happens. As a DS9 fan, you remember how the Bajorans were going ahead and fighting really hard, and Major Kira, she was bad.
Yeah.
But Sisko was better. He's like, I will blow all y'all up. And you will watch me do it.
Sisko was a governing leader. I will say that.
And that's a concern, though. Like, going back to that jurisdiction and enforcement idea, you need someone strong, but will they turn into a tyrant?
That's the other negative possibility of that. Some power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's the one thing.
So I guess let me ask you the question. You're now there are no kids in the house. All your kids are grown. They've got careers. You're good to go. Would you try to move to Mars?
That depends. That would depend on, that is a decision made as a couple, and it would not be all my decision. If we went...
I can see your wife not wanting to leave your kids in any capacity like that.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. Now, if you went one step further and said outside of that, I would put some real thought into it. I would.
What would be the onus to make you say, I am 100, I am now over 50% 50% in one, considering traveling to the next space station, even if it's the moon?
Well, that's the thing, is I could see myself going to the moon first, or trying that and trying to live out there for a while, because it wouldn't be so final,
Okay.
Going to Mars, we could very well make it to Mars within me and your lifetime. Okay, this is true. Making it back from Mars, that won't happen in me and your lifetime, and that would be a reason that would make a difference. Now, we could make it whereas we establish a colony on the moon, and if we establish a colony on the moon, we've already proven we could come back from the moon.
Yeah,
and that wouldn't be as hard of an issue,
The concerns I have are, number one, communication. Number two, how do you synthesize what you need on a barren planet?
Right. Now, they have proven that certain things can be terraformed in space. They have proven this.
But here's the thing. Is it at a sustainable rate on how we consume? And to me, that answer is no.
To me, it would depend on the population.
It is just one of the. But the problem is this: is that like I know, there's going to be a large. So let's say the Mars to Earth Express. It happens every 5 to 7 months because asteroids, meteors, whatever, space debris. So there's times you got to go ahead and divert off course or whatever have you that you may have to deal with. I believe more often than not that this massive shuttle, because 10 to 1 odds, if it's that big, one of the things that we've learned from watching all our space movies is that when you build something that big, you build it in space with its plan never to land. Right. You go ahead and send shuttles from the ship.
Yeah, you piecemeal it and you send it out there, and then you build it out there.
It's a ship in a bottle
before you get there.
Yeah, it's a ship in a bottle. Right. So that thing can travel all day, but going back and forth to Earth, that'll be where the real money is. I will always believe there's more people going to Mars than away from Mars. The only people going back from Mars are the people who basically are the ones supplying everything to everybody.
The tradespeople.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I would agree with that. Just to let you know, would it surprise you to know that a member of my family, one of my kids, before they got into a situation whereas they had a long-term romantic relationship.
Stop it, because I know.
Yeah, they wanted to go to Mars. That was one thing that they wanted to do.
But here's the thing. We have a different viewpoint. Mm-hmm. I have it as the big skit. Like, I'll tell everybody, one of the biggest horror scenes ever was when Zod and his henchmen ripped that patch off that astronaut and he suffocated in space. The third Total Recall, Arnold and Melina outside, their eyes bugging out because they were ejected. Oh, that's scary. And remember, as an Aliens fan in space, no one can hear you scream.
But do keep in mind, it has been said before that, a lot of those effects are done for Hollywood purposes. Even though it would not be a great experience to die in space, it would not be anything like what you. I've actually seen a lot more videos as far as how it would look like for people to die in space now, because I've been researching, of course, and so it is nowhere near. Now, will it suck? Of course, death sucks.
I just wanted to make sure because it sounded like, oh yeah,
no,
it's not as
death sucks. But as far as eyes bugging out and everything like that, no. And as a matter of fact, you will barely know it before you're dead.
I would agree with that. Yeah. The problem is just like I said, some things are ingrained into you. Like case in point, there is a YouTube channel, The Dodo, where it talks about rescued animals and all this stuff. And there was this one mom who, she was 7 years old, got chased by a pit bull, scared of pit bulls for the rest of her life. Her daughter had 2 pit bulls, and you could see her losing her mind. And the dogs are just running around playing, being goofy dogs. But she is frightened, terrified, horrified, because she knows what this dog is going to do to her, even though the dog's not even have that on their mind. Same concept for people like me at that, where it's like, I wish I could get over that. I can't.
Yeah, I recently I had a dog barking at me when I went to go visit my mom, and it was one of the trained police dogs and everything like that.
Did you have something on you that make you?
No. But what happens is they train them in order to be cautious around people, to put it lightly. So when I say it within the trainer, because I don't think that the trainers are necessarily police officers. Let me get that straight.
Trainer or handler, because that's two different things.
So it's the person that goes to train the dog, but not the dog's partner.
Okay, that's the trainer. Yeah, that's trainer.
Yeah. So it was the trainer. Well, he was staying upstairs with a cigarette in his mouth while the dog was sitting up there barking his behind off at me. So the dog came closer to me, and I kicked the shit out of that dog.
Whoa!
I'm sorry, but that dog was barking the hell out of me.
Pause. That is
dangerous. Number one,
that's assaulting an officer. That's animal abuse. I do not co-sign none of this. This is not to use a benchmark.
But number one, you're gonna have your dog sit up there and bark the heck out of me. I don't care if it's a police dog or not. That dog bites me. So,
Brother Wolf, we might have to edit this whole section out. You know that.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, like I said, I find out.
I did not know you were the okay. Moving on. was not ready. Why are you?
Would be me, unless I was me.
Don't be Popeye. But it's dumb things like that that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? Like, okay, there's a perfect example right there. If let's take the argument that Mars is barren.
Yes, it's going to start out barren at least. Yes,
and the only things that are there are what we bring. How many people are bringing other contraband? And as someone like for invasive species, we're gonna have loose dogs, loose rats, and we're gonna be like, who brought this?
And then not just that, but we're saying it like the person may mean to bring it. We all know certain things like roaches, mice, certain things like that finds its way to sneak onto anything and everything. So what's going to happen when the first rad roach is discovered on Mars?
Oh my God. Oh my geez.
When I say you will have the largest mass exodus of people from
Run, Rudolph. Oh no. The roach is bigger than me. And then tried to box me. Oh no. Oh no. Were you smoking the devil's lettuce again? No, it was smoking it. It took mine out my hand. Oh Jesus. But this is the kind of stuff I'm worried about. Because just like I know, how bad was the bubonic plague?
Oh, good God.
Influenza.
Called Black Death for a reason.
Yeah.
Influenza, like when it first came out.
Yeah. That's the one that's going to frighten me as well. If we can barely do hygiene correctly now, what's it going to be in a recycled air environment?
Well, remember, people on the planet survived a pretty long time without soap, which is strikingly amazing. But
I'm telling you now, though, I hope there's desanitation stations everywhere. Oh my, that's going to be one of the ones that frightens me. You know what I mean? Right. Like, and that's the things that I don't believe the average person is considering if they were to go. Like, don't get me wrong. If you're in the frying pan, you want to jump out, but you don't want to jump into the fire. Right. That saying exists for a reason. I'm not saying the situation's good, but you might be able to deal with it a little bit longer before you can get the proper exodus. I don't want people going there and then be exploited as whatever labor it is. You're just exploited at this point. You're a brick in the wall. You know what I mean? I don't want people getting sick and dying. I don't want people being non-successful. And I don't believe anyone has truly sat down and tried to map this out in any long-term, in scaled way as well.
Somebody has.
Not well.
I'm not going to say how well it is, but I know somebody has.
Because, like, case in point, how many people can the first city hold?
That would be something that they'd have to find out. How much oxygen can they put in a domed environment without it becoming unstable? I don't know. That
and I'm not watching a Pauly Shore movie to find that out either.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. Is these are all different questions that we'll have to have answered with science. God, I hope Neil deGrasse Tyson stays alive as long as possible.
Say that correctly?
Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson stays behind as long as possible. Stays alive as long as possible. But that's the whole thing. Is these will all be new questions and stuff that we'll have to have answered. I think, and somebody said this before, yes, space exploration is going incredibly slow right now, but they believe that once the first step is made, we will see it go incredibly fast from there forward, because the first step will most likely be to begin to colonize Luna. And that'll probably be the first step. But because of Luna's gravity, it will make it much easier to make it to other areas.
Yeah. And then that's just like we said earlier about having the main shuttle ship it in. Yeah. So with that said, is there anything else that you want to add that has your concern about the jurisdiction and what we're going to do or not do well?
Just no, I'm not going to say anything.
You're smiling too much, so you have to keep that quiet. And like I said, we probably going to have to edit that because just have a giant beep. With that said, this is YNB Collins,
Brother Wolf here.
with the Benchmark Podcast. Hopefully, you got some food for thought because we want to succeed. Can't do things haphazardly. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Benchmark Podcast, a product of Benchmark Media, LLC. We would like to remind our listeners that the views and opinions expressed are strictly the views and opinions of each individual and does not reflect the stance of Benchmark Media. Any opinion stated is not to be construed as professional advice or help. Our intro and outro music is Acid Trumpet by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons. Contact us at therealbenchmarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Kevin.
Or our website, www.therealbenchmarkpodcast.com.
Yes.
Donate to us, paypal.me/benchmarkmediallc,
Please.
or the Cash App, $TheRealBenchmark. Thank you very much.
Okay, you can buy him a drink on this one.
Just this one?